You know, I think back to the moment, probably three months ago or so. Reverend Karen Russo, Reverend Leslie Goodwin, and myself, we were visioning for the Stewardship months here at New Vision Center. And this theme came through so strongly. Dancing with the riches of life. And man, have we been dancing, yes? You know, last week, Reverend Karen Russo was doing the whole dance, and then she got up here and talked, and I was like, I would have no breath left. But she did it. Let's hear it for Reverend Karen Russo. She kicked us off so powerfully. So to set the stage, to talk a little bit about what does stewardship actually mean? Stewardship, some people told me, it's a really old word. And what it means is to lovingly care, to steward that which is important to our hearts. So let's take a moment, and I invite you to think about what is important to my heart. And how do I want to steward, to care for it? And then see the New Vision Center. How does the New Vision Center for spiritual living fit into that? If this is your first time here, and welcome to all of you who are here for the first time, or if this is the place where you find yourself every Sunday morning. What position, what place does this organization that has been in the Valley of the Sun for over 30 years, what place does it have today in your life? And so this idea for the whole month, we are going to take a look at how does stewardship, how does this dance with the riches of life serve me? Not me as Reverend Karen, but me as Karen. And so I want you to put your hand on your heart. And regardless if you have perhaps had an experience where you have witnessed some misuse of financial good in churches or in centers, and I invite you to see if you can have a new experience around that. And I want you to say after me, this month is for me. This month is for my dance. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, in the life of an organization, we can look out at the manifestation, and the manifestation is that as we all come together and fill out our pledge cards, our committed giving cards, our cards that let the Leadership Council know how much money is to be expected to flow into the New Vision Center in the new year, so they can go ahead and do their planning and be good stewards of those resources. And yes, we have that going on, but at the very heart of this month is for each and every one of us to realize that as I step more into the abundance of life, as I make myself available to dance with the abundance that is everywhere present, I am uplifted, all of the people around me are uplifted, and the New Vision Center is uplifted as well. And so that is the months we are in for. So Reverend Karen Russo started us off so powerfully, and she set the stage for our months of exploration. She highlighted 3 different laws that we are going to continuously look at that. And I think we have a slide for them that is the law of unity, the law of cause and effect, and the law of circulation. Now, if you are not as familiar with these laws as with the law of gravity, then there is some work to be done. I just had I had an experience in my office. I pushed my computer out and there was a glass behind it with some water, and I got to experience the law of gravity. I will have to clean that up later. But these laws are just as powerful as the law of gravity. And then last week, Reverend Karen Russo made a bold statement, and we all heard it. She showed us how to deal with the law of gravity. I think we have a picture, right? She jumped off that platform, and she made this statement. She said, if we get 100 pledge cards, I'm going to jump up and define gravity. And we all want to see that, right? So good news, you see the leaves on our community project. Each one of those leaves represents a committed giving card that has been turned in. And we are going to receive them throughout the month. And Reverend Karen, I think you want to go ahead and practice. Because my prediction is we're going to reach it in the middle of the month. So that is just to let everyone know that is what we're doing here. We all come together as a community. We ask ourselves, what is mine to give? How am I support this community? And then we put it on paper, and so our leadership council can do their work. So thank you for that. And today we are starting to look at how do we enter this dance with life, with the riches of life. I am going to be focusing on our mindset. What is happening within? What has to happen within? And what can happen to shift our dance so that it becomes a freer expression, that money flows to me, to us, freer, and from me, freer out into the world. Next week, Reverend Leslie is going to look a little bit wider as relationships. I think it's called the Abundance Team, your Abundance Team. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to look at community. And then at the last Sunday of the month, we are actually going to look at the global impact, and we will have our sacred ritual. So you want to be there for that. But we start here. We start here, within. This week, I have been reminded that in order to dance with the riches of life, we have to know what our dance is. And I was reminded of being in dance school. Now, y'all, by now, hear my accent. I grew up in Germany. And in Germany, in the 70s, it was customary that the teenagers would go to dance school. And that is where you would learn how to ballroom dance. And everybody would go, all the friends. And as I was thinking about this mindset, that we are here to cultivate a greater expression, it is a lot like those dance steps that I learned a little while ago. And the first question, I remember when we first got there, and the dance instructors were showing us some dances. And they said, the first decision you have to make, what dance are you going to dance? Is it going to be a waltz? Is it going to be A rumba? Yeah. Thank you. Or is it going to be more of a free dance? So that's the first decision you have to make. What is going to be your dance? For some, it might be a dance we like to talk about here in this month. It's called the abundance. The abundance. And the abundance, when I think about the abundance, it's really about the joy of dancing with an ever-increasing riches, abundance, financial good. It's really that. It's great real estate. It is wonderful portfolios. It is an aunt who is thinking about bequesting a house to me. Those things. And sometimes in these spiritual teachings, because we are often called a teaching that is so focused on prosperity manifestation, we are called the, what is the word, the prosperity gospel? Something like we are so focused on receiving money. But here's what I'm asking us to do. What if that is okay? What if we see that portfolio as a potential dance partner for a while? That real estate as a potential dance partner? Lining up to spend some time with us, to spend some time with me, and to enjoy those moments in our lives where we have plenty. Think about that. Think about that. Do you have within you something that says, oh, I do not want to have more money. I don't want to manifest more good. Sometimes we can get into that. And I say there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I am working with that right now. I am working with opening my heart to have the goodness of life pour itself through, and also as money, also as financial good for myself, and to share and to give and to uplift all of us. But that might not be your dance. You might be, no, Karen, the abundance is not for me. Your dance might be a dance of expression. It might be, I want to create. I want to have more access to create beauty. Perhaps write a book or 2 or 3. Create a beautiful dance. Create a new business, a new expression. Did you know that we had over 200 people on this campus throughout this last week? There's so many businesses that are happening. What Kathy was talking about in 2 weeks, these beautiful expressions. Perhaps it is your dance to create beauty in the world. Or perhaps your dance is a dance of connection. To experience deep connection with one dance partner, with another, with more. Think line dancing or the flash mob that we had going on here last week, right? The dance of harmony with others. Whatever your dance is, the question you have to ask yourself, what is my dance? Let's take a moment, take it in. Ask yourself, what is my dance? We have so firmly established that we live in an abundant universe. And so let us declare how we are stepping onto the dance floor to bring forth this abundance. Any surprises for somebody? Yeah? I invite you to think about it this week. What is the dance that you want to dance? And then, of course, what comes up, there's this beautiful quote, I think it's by Aldous Huxley, is his name. He says, most human beings have an almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. But how many of us walked into our garage this morning and went, I got a car! And it started. Or coffee. Or look at this beautiful cup. Anything. Somebody said, and I don't know who it was, what if we would only have tomorrow the things that we are grateful for today? What if we only have tomorrow the things we are grateful for today? You know, life is so fleeting. I don't have to remind us of that. It can change in a moment. Those things that we thought would always be there, all of a sudden are gone. And so my invitation for this week is really to practice intentional appreciation. Intentional appreciation. And this is how it can look. I'm going to give you a couple examples. It might be that instead of ordering out lunch or going out to have lunch, we go home and we look what we find in our pantry. And then we'll make us a meal from the things that we usually just move aside. What if instead of bringing in anything new this week, we consciously appreciate what is already in our life, in our closet? Instead of scrolling on social media to see whoever did whatever, perhaps we can find a piece of pretty paper and write a letter. Just write a letter to someone. Because what I know to be true, if we cannot find abundance and riches right where we are not going to find it anyplace else. Because it doesn't have so much to do with the numbers or with the outer circumstances. It is a mindset. If I am willing and available to recognize all the goodness that is present here now, I am so overwhelmed with gratitude. And so we are asked to take the time. Walk into every room in your home. Appreciate the things that you usually don't even see. If you receive our newsletter, you saw in there that I said one of the tools to dancing with the riches starts with a cue. Anybody has a guess what that cue tool might be? Questions. I heard it right over here. Yes, questions. Questions can help us. Questions have this ability to wake us up to the goodness that is all around us, to the love, to the joy, to the camaraderie. Questions. And so, let us ask this question. What beauty is here now, wanting to be seen before it slips away? What beauty do you see in your life that is here now, that you can get a hold of? I took that picture at the Barefoot Trail in Flagstaff a couple of days ago, where we got the opportunity to play with a couple of our grandkids. And when I saw his footprint, his little footprint of my grandson Theo, it reminded me of this question. And were there moments that we were playing on the playground and I was receiving a message on my phone and had to handle something? Of course. Were there moments where my attention was not on really appreciating the beauty of being with them and with the whole family there? Of course. But this question has helped me to come back again and again and again. What beauty is here now that we can see, that is beckoning us to see? Let's take another minute or so. Allow your eyes to close. Ask yourself, what beauty is in my life right now that I don't appreciate, that I haven't made an effort to intentionally appreciate? And can I do that right here, right now? Perhaps something is rising up within you. Perhaps a person, a connection, a business, something came up. And so, beloveds, for this week, that is really what I invite us to do. To remember, first and foremost, to recognize what is the dance that you want to dance. What are you called to? I saw a couple when we had the Footloose song earlier. There was a lot of activity here. Perhaps it's a wilder dance than the waltz and rumba of my childhood. What is your dance? And once you are clear on that, there is a plethora of ways to go about it. Tools. Prayer and meditation comes to mind. Meditation really that helps us to elevate our consciousness beyond this idea of limitation. And if I have this much, then another person can't have that much. Meditation elevates us to the place where we feel that we are one in the one and that all the abundance of the universe is ours to partake and to share and to have it flow through us, circulate through us. And prayer, when we take the time to work with a practitioner or with a minister or create a spiritual mind treatment and be with that spiritual mind treatment, what is it not but to elevate ourselves into the person that we desire to be? Because that's really what prayer is. We are not changing some entity outside anywhere. It is all about changing our mindset, making us available to receive the good. And then, either today or sometimes this week, I really invite you to make yourself a meal of the things that you find in your home. And when you receive that meal, feel nourished. Have it be enough. I am so, so grateful. I'm so grateful that we have received the inspiration for this month and that we are walking this out together. Thank you. And now we are going to go ahead and anchor this into prayer. And I'm inviting any practitioner, wherever they may be, to just stand and hold the consciousness with me as we recognize that there is only one. There's only one power, one presence, only the divine. It is known by so many names: love, beauty, power, joy, God, Allah, Buddha, the One. Infinite names. And yet, we can never name it because it is greater than any label, any word. And so we simply place ourselves into awe as we allow this recognition of the goodness of life to bubble up from the deepest center within us, the place where we know that we are one. And so for a few moments, we uplift ourselves into that higher realm of possibility, into the place where the dance is always happening, and we step into it consciously, effortlessly, joyfully. And we take a moment and bless all of those beloveds who have placed a prayer request into our ministry of prayer. Anyone who is experiencing a health challenge, we recognize that the body is calling for restoration. Anyone who is receiving pain in their hearts, we uplift them into the highest realm of possibility, of love, of peace, of recognizing that in speaking the prayer, the answer is already given. And so it is with a grateful heart that I simply place this word into universal law, into the law that says yes, into the law that said it is already done, my beloved. We simply let it be, we let it go. And together we anchor this truth as we say, and so it is, amen.